In the mid-18th century, there were 13 British colonies on the east coast of North America, stretching from Massachusetts in the north to Georgia in the south. They developed rapidly, with trade, crafts, and agriculture flourishing, and a population exceeding 2 million. Gradually, the colonists began to feel their own identity, distinct from that of Britain. After the end of the 7 Years' War of 1756 to 1763, Great Britain gained new territories but also huge debts. To replenish the treasury, London introduced a series of new taxes for the colonies. The Stamp Act of 1765, which taxed any printed documents, was the first loud signal of discontent. Other acts followed, taxing imports of glass, paper, paints, and especially tea. The colonists repeated the slogan, "No taxation without representation," more and more loudly. The most striking protest was the Boston Tea Party on December 16, 1773. A group of activists, dressed as Indians, sneaked onto British ships at night and dumped more than 300 boxes of tea into the harbour. For London, this was a blatant act of defiance. The British government responded with the so-called Intolerable Acts, a series of laws that further restricted the rights of the colonies and closed the port of Boston. Tensions reached a breaking point. On April 19, 1775, the first shots were fired in the towns of Lexington and Concord. These clashes between local militias and British soldiers went down in history as the shot heard round the world, a symbol of the beginning of the American Revolution. Soon after, the colonies convened the Second Continental Congress, which created an army and elected George Washington as commander-in-chief. He had a difficult task: to organize scattered troops into a real army. On July 4, 1776, in Philadelphia, delegates adopted the Declaration of Independence, whose main author was Thomas Jefferson. The document proclaimed the right of peoples to self-government and separation from tyrannical power. From that moment on, the 13 colonies officially declared themselves the United States of America. The war turned out to be long and exhausting. At first, British troops were victorious, capturing New York, among other places. However, the Patriots showed remarkable resilience. The turning point came in 1777. The American victory at Saratoga convinced France that the colonies had a chance of success. The French provided financial assistance, weapons, and a fleet, and were later joined by Spain and Holland. In 1781, the decisive Battle of Yorktown took place. Franco-American forces surrounded the British army of General Cornwallis, who eventually surrendered. This effectively ended the fighting. In September 1783, a peace treaty was signed in Paris, under which Great Britain recognized the independence of the United States. The new borders stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River. George Washington later became the first president of the new state, and the United States gradually expanded westward, forming a future world power. The American Revolution had global significance. For the colonists, it was a victory for the right to govern their land and destiny independently. For Europe, it was an example of a successful uprising against the metropolis, which inspired further liberation movements, including the French Revolution of 1789. In a political sense, it spread the ideas of republicanism, popular sovereignty, and inalienable human rights. The American War of Independence is not just a story of military victory. It is an example of how the desire for self-government and freedom can change the world order. The ideas born during the Revolution influenced politics and society far beyond the United States and continue to inspire nations today.